Billionaire CEO asked the janitor for financial advice as a joke. His first words left her speechless. The glass doors of Harrison Global Corp gleamed under the morning sun, reflecting the power and wealth inside. Inside, the CEO, Richard Harrison, a man known for his sharp mind and sharper temper, was pacing impatiently in his office. Today he felt bored, mischievous, and perhaps a little cruel. "Janitor," he called, smirking at the thought of what he was about to do. Maya, a woman in her late 30s with kind eyes and tired hands, pushed her mop cart into the office. She had been working here for over a decade, quietly keeping the building spotless. Invisible to most, but not to Richard. "Good morning, sir," she said politely, setting her mop aside. Richard leaned casually against his desk. "Maya, I need your financial advice." Maya froze. The question sounded absurd. She knew he was joking. He had asked her things like this before, always with a laugh, always to amuse himself. But today his gaze was serious, almost curious. I'm not sure she began, but he cut her off with a playful grin. "Come on, pretend you're a billionaire. What would you do with $1 million? Maya hesitated, thinking about her own life. Her mother's mounting medical bills, her nephew's school fees, the little dreams she had put on hold for years. And then she spoke without thinking, words coming from her heart rather than her head. I'd make sure no one I care about ever had to worry about money. I'd help people who are struggling, maybe start a small fund for families in crisis, and I'd invest in things that make life better for others, not just myself." Richard's smirk faltered. He blinked, genuinely caught off guard. For a moment, the playful billionaire act slipped away. He looked at her, the janitor he'd always seen as invisible, and realized that in her simple, honest words, there was wisdom he had never considered. "Wow," he said softly, almost to himself. You really think like that?" Maya nodded, unsure what to say. She felt exposed, but also proud that she had spoken honestly. Richard leaned back in his chair. "You know, I have billions. Yet I've never felt like I've done enough with it. I've chased deals, profits, headlines, but maybe I've forgotten what really matters." He paused, then added, "Would you help me? Help me figure out how to actually do good?" Maya's jaw dropped. The joke had turned into a genuine request. She never expected the man who had passed her in the hall without a glance to now be asking her for guidance. Over the next few months, Maya worked closely with Richard. She helped him set up scholarship programs, fund local hospitals, and create initiatives for struggling families. Richard learned to listen, to empathize, and to see beyond numbers on a balance sheet. The office noticed the change too. The same billionaire who once intimidated his employees now hosted community lunches, donated anonymously, and personally visited projects. Maya, once invisible, became a trusted advisor, not because of a title, but because of her heart. One afternoon, as they walked through a children's center funded by Richard's new foundation, he turned to her and said quietly, "I never thought a janitor could teach a billionaire what really matters." Maya smiled, tears prickling her eyes. "Sometimes," she said, "the richest lessons don't come from money. They come from people," Richard nodded. "And sometimes the smallest voice can change the biggest heart." That day, Maya realized something profound. True wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in kindness, humility, and the courage to speak honestly. And Richard learned that even the richest life can be empty without giving back. From then on, Harrison Global Corp wasn't just a business empire. It was a symbol of humanity, compassion, and the simple truth that every person, no matter their role, has the power to inspire change. Weeks passed, and Maya noticed subtle changes in Richard beyond his philanthropic efforts. The man who once measured success solely in numbers now lingered in conversations with employees, asking about their families, their dreams, their struggles. It was as if he had discovered a world he had been too busy to notice. One rainy evening, Maya was leaving the office when she saw Richard standing outside, looking up at the storm. He wore a simple coat now, no designer labels, and his face seemed lighter, softer. "Maya," he called. She approached cautiously. "I wanted to thank you," he said, his voice quiet over the rain. "Not just for helping me with these projects, but for reminding me that life isn't about money or power. It's about people." Maya felt her chest tighten. You don't have to thank me, sir. You chose to listen. He smiled, the first truly genuine smile she had ever seen on him. No, Maya, it's more than listening. You opened my eyes, and I want you to know you've changed my life. I want to make sure you have the opportunities you deserve, too. Before she could protest, he handed her a small envelope. Inside was a letter offering her full support to pursue her dream of opening a community center for children and families in her neighborhood, a place she had always imagined but never had the means to create. Maya's hands trembled as she read the words. Tears streamed down her face, mingling with the rain. I don't know what to say, she whispered. Say you'll let me help, Richard replied. Say you'll let this be the start of something bigger, not just for you, but for everyone you touch. For the first time in years, Maya felt seen, valued, and empowered. She nodded, voice choked but steady. I'll do it. I promise. Months later, the community center opened, vibrant and full of life. Children's laughter echoed through the halls, and families who once struggled now found hope and support. And at the ribbon-cutting ceremony, standing beside Maya, Richard spoke to the crowd. True wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the difference we make in the lives of others. And I learned that lesson from someone I once overlooked, our janitor, Maya, whose heart is worth more than all the money in the world. Maya smiled as the crowd applauded, feeling a warmth she had never known before. The joke that had started it all had turned into a life-changing journey, proof that even the smallest voice can spark the greatest change. And in that moment, both Billionaire and Janitor realized that generosity, humility, and kindness weren't just virtues, they were the keys to a richer, fuller life.